All right, so on today's video, we are going to be doing a one on Snake Eyez. Now, the reason why I want to do one on Snake Eyez real fast is because I want you to be able to notice how a player can play patient and how patience works out. Because Snake Eyez is good at number one, patience, and number two is that making very quick and decisive decision making, right? And I want to show both of them. Okay, I'm gonna take the space. Right, so these intro grabs, I feel as though they're very good for a specific type of person, right? Snake Eyez is very easily can adapt to a situation very easily, so as such he will test his opponent to see whether they're willing to jump in these cases or they're willing to just kind of stay on the ground and whatever have you. And then based on the data that he's gathered just from this interaction alone, he'll either be able to play more strike based or play more throw based. And notice how he didn't jump the first one, right? Notice how he didn't jump the first one. So if he didn't jump the first one, now we're going to condition him to start jumping because we're noticing that he's just sitting there, right? So the first one, bam, it goes. Second one, bam, it goes. You see what I'm saying? Like, so then now he's gonna try and force you to jump a little bit more, and then when he starts to jump a little bit more, that's when he wants to take advantage of that, right? Okay, now we have to play patient. We knew that it was coming because at a certain point he has to take a little bit more of a dominant approach, right? He has to do a little bit more to try and bridge this gap, meaning that he's most likely to try and teleport here. In doing so, right? Notice how he's not like jumping crazy and trying to avoid all these things, but he's just tanking them and waiting for his opportunity and going in at that certain point in time. Okay, see, he noticed that he has a life lead. He doesn't rush the fight, clutches it out with a standing a heavy punch, right? He wants to make sure that he's not rushing the entire thing, taking his time, making sure that he gets everything perfectly timed. All right. With that being said, we are in the second round. He took a decisive jump. He gets his hit. Now he's stuck in the corner. Once again, we're going to take advantage of the fact that our opponent likes to stay on the ground. And we're going to hit him for it. Yep. Wow. That is a really fast match. But the things that I want you to be able to take away from this is, number one, he noticed that his opponent is not dealing with his SPD well. He acknowledged the fact that he's not jumping, and then in doing so, now he's making it a consistent effort to make sure that, okay, you're gonna stay on the ground, all right, you're gonna hold these SPDs, you know what I mean? Like, he makes sure that, like, when you're fighting him, you feel uncomfortable. And I tell everyone that you want to make your opponent feel uncomfortable, because when they feel uncomfortable, they have to make decisions. When they have to make decisions, that's when the human error comes into play, and we can take advantage of that. Okay, let's get on to the next round. So with that being said, let's see if our Kimchi Slapper is able to make an adaptation or not, and we can kind of move forward from there. Okay, notice how he's not rushing. I want you to notice this. Okay, this is something that a lot of players, especially when we're talking about platinum, we're talking gold, platinum, diamond, is that always trying to rush the fight. Okay, you got 99 long seconds, use them, right? You don't need to rush the fight. The quicker you rush the fight, the quicker you might end up losing, because you're trying to force a situation. Notice how in the beginning he's not trying to force a situation, he's just trying to be the wall. He acknowledges, okay, he's not going to allow me to do that comfortably, so I'm going to play in a range where I can try and whiff punish him and hopefully get something started, right? We're not trying to force a situation, we're not trying to do too much, because right now we're not in a situation where we need to force a situation, right? So what I mean by that is that, like, let's say you're like 5 health and they got 60 or 50%, right? In those cases, you're going to have to take risks in order to kind of force the situation. Otherwise, you can play passive, which can work in some cases and is known to work. But with that being said, in some way, shape, or form, you're going to have to take a risk, i.e. like, let's say you're trying to enforce Oki upon them and on a knockdown situation, then you can try to force a situation where you walk up grab or walk up button, knowing that they have DP or super available, and you have to take a risk there, right? That sort of thing. Again, I want you to notice the patience, right? Just making sure that you are a wall, okay? Obviously, not all of the characters play like this. This is mostly like a Zangief slash Manon thing a little bit, where you want to become a wall that is very hard to breach. You know what I mean? You want to become a wall that is very hard to reach, because if you make your defense tight, it makes your opponent that much more uncomfortable. They force a situation like we see here where he tried to jump, right? The reason why I say jumping is a force is because it's a committal option, especially for someone who has very good zoning options, right? But he has to do something to kind of open him up. I'm sorry. Okay, notice how we're just taking these and we're walking it out. We don't need to jump, we don't need to double jump, we don't need to jump back, double dash, you know, we don't gotta do all the silliness. We just gotta walk our opponent down. Now that he's in the corner, this is where Zangief wants to be. Okay, we slowly took him here. Now we can play our game. Right, now that we've gotten him here, this is where we want to be. And then you just get your pockets red. You see what I mean? Like, you want to walk your opponent down to the corner. Now, this is what I'll say. No matter what character you are, you do want to find your opponent in the corner, because you are the strongest when you have your opponent in the corner. So in this video, I'm trying to show you the fact that how patience is allowing him to walk his opponent to the corner consistently and forcing him into the situation. Now, this is not, he's just different here. Like, I can't take anything from this. He's just different here. Like, what am I supposed to say? Like, what? he's just that good. Okay, he really is just that good. There's nothing you can really say about that one. Okay, notice how we're not jumping around. We're not trying to force the situation. We're not double dashing. You know what I mean? We're just walking, looking for points in which we can whiff punish and forcing the situation. Unfortunate that he missed the sweep here from the JP, but with that being said, we took advantage of it, right? He sticked out a button, we noticed that it happened, and then we took advantage of it. So now we have all the pressure in the world. But OD amnesia is OD amnesia, right? Okay, now we dealt with the situation at hand. Now he has to start from pretty much all over again, and just walking, eating and walking it, just walking it. See how every time, like, look where we started from, right here, right? We started from right here, and now we're just walking. And notice how he just keeps walking back, because he doesn't want to be in that range. He's going to keep forcing them to walk back. Every time he tries to walk forward and kind of force some space, he's being forced back. Notice how far we've come from basically all the way over here, right? Just forcing him to walk back, keep walking back, becoming that wall and forcing them, essentially sandwiching them between the corner and yourself, right? You keep forcing that situation, eventually they find themselves here. With that being said, notice how we're not being overly aggressive, okay? Zangief wants to be right in front of you, yes, but you don't want to force the situation all the time, because that is not how we want to play, especially when we're talking about gold, platinum, diamond, especially my silvers, you know what I mean? Like, the moment you understand the fact that you don't need to rush in, all you need to do is wait for your opponent to make mistakes. You might be thinking, oh, you know, what if your opponent doesn't make mistakes? It's not a matter of fact that the opponent is not making a mistake. It's a matter of you not being able to see it, right? Humans, pros, whatever have you, legend ranks, right? They all make mistakes. They all make errors. And the thing is that we as players need to take advantage of the human error, okay? Obviously, you're going to have errors of your own, but you want to mitigate those by playing patient. And I want to notice as well the fact that he hasn't really been jumping. The JP hasn't really been jumping, especially on pressure, all too often, and he's been getting SPD'd a lot, right? And this is a scenario that I want to particularly look at. So notice how in this volley of buttons he didn't go for SPD. Why didn't he go for SPD? Because he was under the assumption that, okay, you know what, he might want to change the way he approaches defense via via like grabs, or not grabs, sorry, by jumps, by way of jumps or backdashes, right? Because essentially you want to get out of the situation where you're not constantly getting SPD'd. So he's been getting SPD'd basically the entire set, but you want to change that. But the thing is that he didn't change his offense. He's staying true to his ways. It might get SPD'd. Oh no, last ride. Backdash last ride. No, he's just different. Here he's just different, right? And I'm not gonna say like, oh, you know, he did something funny or whatever. I'm not gonna glaze him if there's nothing to glaze. You feel me? He's just different. Okay, maybe that's glazing too. Anyways, this is the whole point of the pronouns. I wanted to show the fact that if you play patient and wait for your opponent to make mistakes like with jumping or double dashing, then we take advantage of those by dash checking, by anti-airing, just playing solid. If you notice that your opponent is whiffing a lot of normals, especially like crouching medium kick and standing heavy punch, we want to make sure that we're in line to punish that, right? We want to ensure that we're getting the amount of punishes that we deserve and ensuring that we win rounds more consistently. All right, so once again, thank you again for watching. And also thank you for all the subscribers and all the love that I've been receiving. Also, we're trying to push for 1,000 by the end of the year. If you could help out with that, that'd be very appreciated. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.